Alrighty. So I think I wanted to kind of sort of document my thoughts on 2025 and what I'm looking forward to next year as a little bit of a retrospective reflection thingy. I'll probably put some like Super Animal Royale gameplay over the back or something, just so there's a bit of visual. But I was gonna do this as like a sloppy, well, not sloppy. I was gonna do this as like a one-take, thug it out sort of thing, but it was so unorganized, and I was saying the same thing over and over again. And since I'm doing this for myself as a bit of a documentation thing, I figured I should write an outline first. So that's what I did, and this is take two. I like talking about these things. Haven't had anyone to talk about with them recently. So that's kind of the main reason I'm just going to be yapping to a microphone and uploading it. Because I enjoy this kind of thought conversation. So let's start with highlights and lowlights of 2025. Sort of in chronological order is what I've got them. So I went to my first furry convention. I went to Further Confusion. That was a real good time. I had some fun with friends. That was the first time I had done long distance travel by myself. It was also, I think, the first time I've been in like a major city that's not horrible, like St. Louis City. And then some other stuff happened after that I will not be specifying, but not so great. Get intermittently depressed. First year of college finishes, woohoo. Summer, I am absolutely miserable. Then I start my second year, it gets better, but it's still intermittent. Then in October, things are getting a little bit better. I've gotten over a lot of that stuff. I go to my second convention, which is with the local one, Gateway Fur Meet, which is kind of silly that I think that for my first convention, I travel halfway across the country, and my second one is my local one. I thought that was kind of funny. And then I also decide that I am hating my major. I don't like what I'm doing in college, or at least I don't like where it's going to end up. It's super boring. So I pick up a second one. I start doing computer science also. I say also because that one alone is not very employable, and I do still want to live afterwards. But the cybersecurity was fairly easy, so adding more on top of it wasn't a huge deal. I also decided that I'm going to make my fursuit instead of commissioning it, which is what I was previously planning on doing. I was in talks with a maker, but I decided for how much it was going to cost, I get a lot more out of it if I just do it myself. And I buy the materials, I buy the equipment, and then I have the skills, I have the equipment afterwards. I can do my own repairs. So like I guess opportunity cost sort of thing is part of it. Required learning like 5 different brand new skills, which I'm very excited about. I've never done, I want to say 90% of what's required. So that is going to be a fun process throughout next year. And I started it by buying a really nice 3D printer because I want to do most of the structure parts with TPU instead of foam. And that has been a project in and of itself. I've been building that over the past month and a half. Mostly just waiting on parts. Actually, the last things that I need arrive today as of recording, which is the 30th. So that's fun. And I'm also employed by my university now as an independent contractor. I started and finished first big web design project. For that was a lot of learning, a lot of new stuff, especially with WordPress, which I like for some things and I dislike for a lot of other things, but I have learned a lot still, and I think it's useful information regardless with that sort of stuff. And then I'll be posting this on the 31st, which is my 20th birthday. Big 2-0. Just another day, honestly. But next year I'll probably be doing a lot more for obvious reasons. So then why was most of it so shit? On average, I think it was kind of okay. But the median, however, was not. But I got used to constantly doing stuff with people, I think, especially through 2024 and then into the start of 2025. And that just simply stopped happening quite abruptly. And my mindset when going into like social stuff was very passive. I was like wanted to be invited into what other people were doing. I wasn't actively talking to people because my mindset was, oh, if somebody wants to talk to me, they'll just message me, and obviously that's not always the case, or the case at all. And so reserving that space wasn't inconsequential. It had a toll on me, especially it wasn't being utilized, and I think that was the biggest reason that that all started, because it kind of snowballed from that, reminiscing on it, especially with nothing happening in the interim, so it was kind of the only thing to do. Not great, but yeah, that was most of the time that it wasn't utilized, so it wasn't great for most of it. And then summer was especially bad because I was just completely alone for the vast majority of it. Like through the school year, I at least had friends on campus to talk to and do stuff with, but that just didn't happen over the summer. So it got a lot worse, and I can't do that anymore. I'm 20. I got one foot in the grave practically now. I can't be doing that. I have to make a change, and regardless of what it means and what it is, because that strategy isn't working. And this was actually prompted very recently from playing Everhood 2, of all things, which sounds really silly, especially if you don't even know what that game is. It is a fever dream of a game, I will tell that. And though I will say, if you've played it, you probably get what I mean. Like, yeah, that makes sense, where that why that would be coming from, or where why that would prompt it. But I can't explain it because of how insane the game is. But basically, it's just time to let things go, let the past go. One of those is the level of social connection and stuff that I had with some people. That's just not there anymore. Can't happen. Just life moves on. Nothing you can do about it. And so it's time to move on as well. And it's important to note that this isn't like not caring about social connection and all that crap, and emotional connection. It's not like apathy. And that was something that I was thinking about. It's like, that's obviously that kind of dependence is a vice. Apathy is a vice in the opposite end. So where do I get somewhere in the middle? And that's basically just making it secondary to myself, where I still care about it, but it's not my main priority anymore. It'd been my main priority for a long time, or at the very least it had become my main priority without me knowing it. So I'm going to be starting putting myself first, I think, is the big thing. And it's been helping so far. I've already kind of started doing that mindset where I'm like, nope, I'm living for myself. I don't care what other people are doing. I don't care what those people are doing. I don't care I'm missing out. I'm doing my own thing right now. And that's actually been helping with confidence in general. Flipping the mindset on its head, basically, like where I was worried about other people. I wanted to be invited to what other people are doing. I'm just doing what I'm doing, and if other people join, I can invite other people if other people want to join, sure. But I'm also not going to be worried if that gets denied, because I'm still just going to do what I'm doing, and I'm not bothered either way. When that's a kind of a generalization, but because there will be probably exceptions and stuff, but you get the idea. And I've also reflected this on social media and things. I'm not... That kind of happened first, but it kind of happened in a way that was just burnout, where I... maintaining like a social media presence, especially with like art stuff, trying to do commissions like as a thing. It was so draining and exhausting and horrible, and I hated it. I grew to hate it, and I started hating drawing because it was just work for that stuff. It just kept going, and I didn't really care about it anymore. That was the purpose of it. I wasn't drawing for myself, which is the whole purpose that I started drawing in the first place, was because I like drawing. And so I'm not doing that anymore. Probably, in fact, I redid all my social media stuff. I think at one point I had separated my main account from my art stuff, or at least my personal stuff from my art stuff, and that made it even worse, I think, just because now it's maintaining two things. It's not just putting stuff out there for fun, and it's so fucking miserable. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to be doing it for me. I'm going to be posting what I want, and I don't care if anyone sees it or cares about it, because I care about it. That's why I'm posting it. Same with this. This is probably going to be unedited. It's very different to anything I post normally on YouTube, because those are just game clips, but those are also unedited. I just post those because I like the maps. I think they're fun. They're challenging. Maybe it's something brand new that I haven't done before and I'm learning stuff, so it's like bad, but it's still fun. And that's why I do stuff over here. I just need to kind of expand that out to everything that I'm doing. But I've already started kind of with this over December. With social media stuff, I decided at the start of December, but with like the personal mindset, I decided like 2 weeks ago, but I'm already much happier. And in not worrying about all of that garbage. Maybe that changes next year. Maybe I should get back into it. But it'll be with the foundation of the confidence and self-focus motivation stuff that I'm doing right now. So it won't just be like, I'm going to start doing that with no plan. I'll have this stuff under it if I want to start going back into that, which honestly I don't think I do. But, well, who knows? So then also, now that I have the plan and what I'm doing, there are a bunch of things I'm looking forward to in 2026. For one, starting working on my fursuit, hopefully finishing it. Once I finish building my printer, I can actually start that process officially by prototyping a lot of the pieces. Though I haven't been modeling many of them recently because of, well, I was finishing the school year, and then I've been building the printer. And then recently I've been playing games again. Because Super Animal Royale, I like the new update. Because I was really bad at that game. I think that's another meaningful thing, that's why that's the game I'm going to be putting over the background of this. I am so bad at Super Animal Royale. Because I played it a little bit like a year ago. And I've got back into it with this update. But I'm so awful at the game. And it's really fun to be bad at a game and learn it, I think. I haven't, like, earlier in the year and throughout the past 4 years, pretty much the game I mained was Fall Guys. And I don't play Fall Guys anymore because it's miserable and boring now at this point. And it's definitely on its way out. But I was good at that game. It wasn't a challenge. It was still fun because I like the platforming aspects of it, but there was no challenge to it. It was all automatic. And this one I have to lock in, I have to focus. There's adrenaline, which I very rarely got with Fall Guys unless I met up with like 1 or 2 other people who are actually good, and once in a blue moon, because most of the player base is not. So that's, I think, an important thing as well. I want the challenge in it. I want it to be fun and new. I want to learn stuff. I like the learning parts of it. Let's see, where are we with this thing? Oh yeah, I've ordered first watches from a couple of suppliers. Those are going to arrive soon. I figured while I'm waiting for other stuff, I may as well order some things to start getting the planning stuff going, so I'll at least know what I'm going to be going with. I figured that's kind of more efficient at the very least. And then I will also finally have a fucking car for real this time. So yay. That's the only reason I'm not like actually excited about that is because that was supposed to be happening, I think, literally a year ago at this point. It was supposed to be done by the end of the summer, then it was, yeah, but it's now actually going to be done. So I'll be able to do a lot more, and I'm excited for that. I'll potentially be going on an internal pen test in January for the same job that I have that I did the web design stuff for, and that's new. That's something that I have no experience with, other than some ethical hacking stuff I've done as a club, but I've not done anything official. I've not done anything that needs like a report. So we'll see if I even am actually put on that. We'll see how that goes, but I think that'll be exciting if it happens. And then I'm also getting more into the computer science classes now that I've started that major instead of just cyber, because most of the cyber classes are like boring, if I'm being so honest. They're more in line with the business side, which makes sense, because like your job as a cybersecurity specialist is to bridge the technical and the business motives and all that stuff. So you need to understand both. But the classes are focusing like 90. It's like 90% the business side and 10% the technical side. And what is the technical side is it sucks. So I needed something a bit more on top of that. That I'm actually, so I won't just be bashing my skull in the whole next 2 years. But that's been cool so far. Like I've learned C++ over the past 8 weeks. Well, the end of the semester, and I did like a fun project with that. At the end of it, I made some drivers for Raspberry Pi Pico for an LED matrix, and made it play Bad Apple on one of them. I couldn't get daisy chain to work, but that was fun to learn all that stuff anyway, or relearn it rather, because I had done it in Python, but redoing it in C++ was still fun. And then who knows whatever else. I haven't put anything like social or relationship related on here very deliberately, because I'm going to be looking at those things with much more with a whatever happens happens attitude, which was what I had been doing in the past, but then I fell out of that very slowly, like frog boiling, didn't notice it. And it's part of the personal growth stuff I'm doing. I'm not going to be like counting on anything. It's because maybe I see long distance friends again, or for the first time, maybe I find a relationship, maybe stuff happens, but I'm not going to count on anything. And I'm certainly not going to waste the time and energy ruminating about it like I was. So yeah, the main reason I'm confident in all of this stuff is because I know that my resolve and determination and stuff and willpower, etc., pick your adjective, or not adjective, those are nouns, pick your synonym, are very strong as long as the decision is actually important. Like saying, oh, I'm going to get up at 10 a.m. or I'm going to get up at 9 a.m. That's not a very important decision unless I have something important to get up for, which I can do if I need to. But the bed is too comfy to stick to that most of the time when there aren't stakes. But that's a different story. Another thing that helps is that when I wanted to do something very similar last year, I didn't build the goal from the bottom with the methods. I started at the top with the goal, and I didn't really have an actual plan in place. And this time I'm doing that. I've already started building the foundation for it, so it's going to be a lot more effective, I can already tell. And I know there's like no real reason to wait until the new year. And to be honest, I haven't, because I've been doing this the past month or so. Started with like my relationship with social media, and now I'm doing it with my mindset as a person by myself internally. But it does help me with the whole like letting go part of it. It's like a cycle, new year, new me. I think it's very fitting in this particular case. So I think it's totally fine, actually. And then I'm also probably going to start doing these sorts of like video recording, documentary, journal, whatever's things every year. I think it'll be a cool thing to have, documenting every year what I had planned going into it, and then versus what actually happened, and seeing how that changes over time. I think that'll be pretty cool. So that's probably about it for this. And maybe I do other stuff. Maybe you see me later. Don't know. Bye.